Hello and welcome to India Career Center, the one-stop podcast for students, professionals, parents and guardians. In every episode, we will try to deal with a current topic that needs expert advice related to career guidance and career mentoring. Please welcome your host, Dr. S.P. Mishra to the show and happy listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode on India Career Center. Today, I'm delighted to welcome Mr. Anil Pradhan, who is also known as the Ideas Man of India. Anil is an innovative engineer. He's an educationalist and the founder of Young Tinker. Born in the village of Baral, Odisha, Anil's journey from a rural upbringing to become a global education influencer is truly inspiring. Anil's passion for hands-on training and learning and STEM education has revolutionized the way students in the undeserved areas learn and innovate. His work with Young Tinker has impacted over 2.5 lakh students, and his team has even achieved a world rank of number 3 at NASA Rover Challenge in 2021. Anil's dedication to education and innovation has earned him numerous accolades, including the prestigious National Youth Award from Government of India. With those fascinating introduction, I welcome Mr. Anil Pradhan to our show today. Anil, thank you so much to be with us and welcome to India Career Center podcast. And you're joining us today from where?
Namaste. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm joining from Bhubaneswar today.
So thank you for your time today.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward.
Great. So Anil, as always, I try to ask my guests to talk us through their personal journey first before we dive into the specifics about the topic of today. So take us through briefly about your journey so far.
Yeah, so my journey started from an island village in Odisha. So basically, I come from a village with its name is Baral in Maja. So Maja means a group of 42 villages near Cuttack. And this is basically where I was born. My early childhood, I had some basic education there. My father was in CRPF, so eventually I have to go to Bhopal since my father has that perspective that if you stay here, nothing would happen. Nothing would happen, and there is no good education out here in this island village. So let's go out for education. And only because of education, we all got migrated to Bhopal, and that is where I got my first kick. There needs to be something. We need to do something in education in these rural areas. After my schooling there in Bhopal, I came back to Odisha for my engineering. So fortunately, unfortunately, I couldn't get into the IIT. And if you are good in maths and science and you belong to a middle class family in in India, the next thing that happens to you is you choose PCM and then get into the rat race of IIT JEE. And that exactly happened with me. Never get into an IIT, got into Odisha's best and the oldest government college, that is VSSUT Burla. And this is the time when I got a chance to go back to my village and try to understand the challenges out there and how can we find a solution for it. As a child, I was very curious, uh, wanted to do a lot of things, wanted to learn uh, outside the book specifically, and but the education system was not supporting that. And when I have these kind of challenges with me, and then I was also going to my village that time when I was in college, a lot of things actually triggered me. कि, भाई साहब, why this thing is not happening in a village? Why someone is not doing something? And then the next thing that actually came to me was is, भाई मैं नहीं करूंगा तो कौन करेगा? मैं नहीं तो कौन? If not I, then who? So let's start it यार. मिडिल क्लास फैमिली से हूँ, ज्यादा कुछ रिसोर्सेस नहीं है. लेट्स नॉट क्राई फॉर दोस थिंग. लेट्स फाइंड आउट व्हाट इज पॉसिबल, व्हाट कैन बी डन. क्या कर सकते हैं, लेट्स फाइंड आउट. We started the tin shed with just 3 students, and we told ki we're gonna teach them those hands-on subjects that we're talking about, and the existing subjects that we have, how to make those subjects hands-on as well. And धीरे धीरे this entire thing started. I started with the school. So 2015, when I was there in college, I started that school with just a tin shed and 3 students. Eventually, in next 2 3 years, we got around 250 odd students. So first, the challenge was we were not getting students first or second month में, because we had only 3 students. 2 साल बाद एक और चैलेंज हो गया, अब इतने सारे बच्चे हैं, बैठने के लिए जगह नहीं है. So how to figure that out? And that is where I myself learn about the financials, how to make something sustainable. And that's my first attempt. Obviously, I succeeded in a lot of things, and also failed a couple of times. And so these things actually taught me a lot about education and the purpose behind it. Education एक holistic development है बच्चे के लिए, where they learn about the society and how actually education का perspective अभी क्या है लोगों का is totally different. So it's not marks and jobs, but it's about an holistic development. So वो end goal को कैसे ठीक करना है. So all that thing happened, and then 2015 से मैंने शुरू किया. 2019 we finally incorporated Young Tinker Foundation with the same learning, and then the mission was जो मैंने एक गांव में 250 बच्चों के साथ किया, how can we replicate it in every village? And eventually it was not just only village, because students from Bhubaneswar, the capital city, were coming to my village. So we saw a bigger impact. If this is one of the other opportunity, why not we tap that? So eventually we came to Hyderabad as well, where we were working with both the kind of schools, well-off schools, underprivileged schools, and their student as well. And 2021, we took one student team from a village, in Odisha, helping them create a solution, create a rover, in fact, right from designing to manufacturing to testing, and then eventually taking it to NASA. So these were the kind of unthinkable. So I basically term it as doing unthinkable. And we have a slogan for student as well. जब लोग कहें नहीं, तो आप पूछें क्यों नहीं. So it's basically doing unthinkable. क्यों नहीं कर सकते यार, मतलब गांव में क्या प्रॉब्लम है, क्यों नहीं जा सकते ये बच्चे, क्यों नासा रोवर चैलेंज में पार्टिसिपेट नहीं कर सकते हैं? सोच के तो देखो एक बार, पहले सोच लो, फिर कर लेंगे आराम से. एंड वी इवेंचुअली डिड इट. पीपल थॉट वी आर गोइंग टू यूएस जस्ट टू पार्टिसिपेट, बट द स्टूडेंट्स वन वर्ल्ड रैंक 3 एट द नासा रोवर चैलेंज. सो 2015 से जब हम बोलते थे लोगों को कि यही गांव के बच्चे हैं, यही बच्चे हैं जो कल इनोवेटर और एंटरप्रेन्योर बन सकते हैं, nobody believed. But eventually, अब इतने साल बाद, when we look back after 8 years, now we are happy कि जो हम बोल रहे थे, that is actually happening now in ground. So this is basically a brief story. Yeah.
I know there are so many things to unpack here. So, Anil, when you started thinking about doing something about education, I know around the same time, I think there were other Indians, young Indians like you, who tried to bring technology in terms of education, who tried to bring different methodology of teaching, especially STEM subjects. And they were all targeting towards how to crack the IIT or NET and things like that. But somehow you thought slightly differently. What was your thought process? I mean, did it ever cross your mind कि ठीक है ये education को innovative बनाएंगे and it will probably help them to crack some high-end tough examinations in India. At any point, did that cross your mind?
So the thing is, सबसे पहले हम अपने दिमाग में ये बना लेते हैं यार, सोचना है तो बड़ा सोचो वरना मत सोचो. So let's shoot the stars. सबसे ऊपर कर देखते हैं, और बीच में कहीं पे आके गिरेंगे तो चलेगा, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. सो लेट्स थिंक बिग. फेल हो जाएंगे तो हो जाएंगे, छोटे चीज में फेल होने में इतना मजा नहीं है, बड़े चीज में फेल भी होंगे तो कोई बात नहीं है, कुछ सीख जाएंगे. एंड वी हैव दिस स्लोगन एज वेल, आगे बढ़ो, आगे बढ़ेंगे तो जीत जाएंगे और हार जाएंगे तो सीख जाएंगे. So these are all our slogans that we teach to our students. So it's a young tinker principle as well. सो जब हम दूसरों को देखते थे कि यार ये लोग ऐसा काम कर रहे हैं और इसके लिए कर रहे हैं, तो हमने बोला कि यार कोई नहीं यार, अच्छी बात है। वी टीच आर लर्निंग टू द स्टूडेंट्स, नाउ इट्स अप टू देम कि उसको आईआईटी क्रैक करना है कि फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटी क्रैक कर रही है, कि उसको बाहर जाके पढ़ना है, या फिर उसको खुद अभी से एंटरप्रेन्योर बनना है, जो करना है। सो वी टीच प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग टू द स्टूडेंट्स, एंड देन नेक्स्ट थिंग इज नाउ यू पेव योर वे यार। हम लोग आपके लिए रास्ता नहीं बनाएंगे, विल टीच यू हाउ टू कैच ए फिश, हाउ टू मेक ए फिश करी, ठीक है, और सीधा हम फिश करी बना के आपको नहीं खिला रहे हैं यहाँ पे। अब आपके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है कौन सी मछली आप निकालते हो, वो आपके लिए। सो दैट्स अ बिगर गोल इन आवर माइंड। नाउ ऑल्सो इफ यू सी, स्टूडेंट्स आर एंटरप्रेन्योर्स जो खुद बिजनेस बना रहे हैं। आर स्टूडेंट्स आर देयर दोज हु आर इन आईआईटी, आर स्टूडेंट्स आर देयर इन आईवी लीग कॉलेजेस एज वेल, and that's a bigger difference that we have created in the society, and that brings young tinker brand to a global stage. So it doesn't matter, really doesn't matter for us कि वो बच्चा आईआईटी कर रहा है कि क्या कर रहा है। what really matters to us is हमने उस बच्चे को जो mindset change करना चाहिए था, that we have done, that mindset we have given to that child.
No, that's lovely. I think what you mentioned about problem solving, I think that is a bigger goal rather than just looking at a smaller, narrow goal of achieving some examination and things like that. So that's fantastic. So when this opportunity came for your students to go to NASA, and you mentioned about it, they not only went there, they also got the third prize as well. So all this thought process, how it started, I mean, can you just deep down a little bit about this particular journey of your students to NASA?
Yeah, so this journey was really interesting because everything that happened is kind of like doing unthinkable, asking the question क्यों नहीं हो सकता, और जब लोग कहें नहीं तो आप कहो क्यों नहीं हो सकता यार, is the fundamental behind this doing unthinkable thing. So we all were sitting around and were just thinking around. I and Vaishali were just thinking around कि what can be done, because if you're good in sports, you know कि कल ओलंपिक्स जाके खेलना है, और there's a platform where you can show. जब स्कूल में एक बच्चा करेगा तो उसको प्रूफ करना है, तो वो तो फिर कॉलेज के बाद ही होगा जब वो एंटरप्रेन्योर बनेगा, या फिर उस टाइम तक जाके पहुंचेगा। अभी तो सिर्फ एक प्रोडक्ट बना सकता है, या फिर एक एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप का एक टेस्ट ले सकता है, बट एक एक बड़ा प्लेटफॉर्म पे शोकेस, वेयर वी कैन डू दैट शोकेस। एंड देन वी फाइंड आउट कि स्टेम एजुकेशन का सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज क्या है वर्ल्ड में, उसमें हम इन बच्चों को लेके करवाएंगे यहाँ पे। और यदि ये बच्चे हार भी जाते हैं तो अपने आप में बहुत बड़ा अचीवमेंट है, क्योंकि वो प्लेटफॉर्म पे जाना ही अपने आप में बड़ा चैलेंजिंग है। सो लेट्स डू दैट यार, और हार जीत की तो हमको कोई चिंता ही नहीं है, विल गिव आवर 100%। and that is what our student also did. So we selected 10 students. One of the student was working in an cycle mechanic shop. So सबके जब इंटरव्यूज हो रहे थे तो वी हैव इनवाइटेड ऑल द इंटरव्यूज कि आओ आके फिजिकली हमसे मीट करो। सो दिस गाय इंटरेस्टिंगली टोल्ड, हमने बोला कि व्हाई डू यू वांट टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस टीम, कैसे रोवर कैसे बनाओगे? तो सर साइकिल में 2 चक्के होते हैं, इसमें 4 चक्के होते हैं, तो आप सिखाओगे तो मैं बना लूंगा, 2 चक्के बना लेता हूँ। The girl who was working in a welding shop, she was a part of that. We asked क्यों आप वेल्डिंग क्यों करते हो, क्योंकि we don't see a lot of girls welding. We always challenge their thought process and try to understand कि भाई साहब क्यों कर रहे हो, why behind the what.
Wow.
तो they told कि सर ये तो मतलब मेरे पिताजी नहीं है, मैं and I have to earn for my family, अभी मेड जो है वो नहीं आते हैं, मेड को कोई नहीं रख रहा अपने घर पे कोविड के टाइम पर, सो आई गॉट दिस जॉब। तो टोल्ड व्हाई डू यू वांट टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस? सर वेल्डिंग तो करना ही पड़ेगा, आप रोवर बनाएंगे तो मैं तो वेल्डिंग कर लूंगी। वो टोल्ड कि इस टाइप की वेल्डिंग नहीं चाहिए, दैट इज बेसिकली हम लोग को जो वेल्डिंग चाहिए दैट इज बेसिकली मेग एंड टेक, आप एमए में करते हो। तो बोलते सर इसको सीखने में 6 महीने लगा है, आप यदि सिखाएंगे 2 महीने में सीख जाऊंगी और मैं कर लूंगी इसको। एंड वी हैव टू एंड दिस बिग कंट्रीब्यूशन फॉर द कंट्री, एंड सर वी वांट टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस। सो ऐसे ऐसे हमने 800 बच्चों को इवेलुएट किया, एंड वी सिलेक्टेड 10 स्टूडेंट्स आउट ऑफ इट। Students both from cities and villages were a part of this. जो cities है, well off cities, they could able to manage their finances. And obviously at Young Tinker, what we basically do is we generate revenue from cities, and at the same time we compensate to the students who can't actually do it. जिनके पास उतनी वेल ऑफ फैसिलिटीज नहीं है. सो वी मैनेज आवर प्रॉफिट्स एंड गिव इट टू द स्टूडेंट्स. सो इस प्रकार से एक कंप्लीट टीम को हमने बिल्ड किया, 10 बच्चों की टीम को बिल्ड किया. एंड इवेंचुअली उसी गांव में पूरी फैसिलिटी बनाई, वर्ल्ड क्लास फैसिलिटी बनाई है, वेयर यू कैन मैन्युफैक्चर दिस एंटायर थिंग. एंड the first process is very important for students, where we give them the mindset of problem solving. कि भाई what is basically problem solving, how to solve any problem. So that is more important. उसके बाद वो बच्चा कभी कंप्लेनिंग माइंडसेट से नहीं आता है. दे ऑलवेज कम विद, सर दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम एंड दिस कैन बी द सोल्यूशन. सो सो दो माइंडसेट होते हैं, यस बट एंड यस एंड. तो जैसे मैं यदि बच्चों को बोलूंगा ये एक पहाड़ है, इस पहाड़ को जाके तोड़ लेना है, तो कुछ लोग होंगे जो बोलेंगे सर अच्छी बात है, पहाड़ तो तोड़ना है, लेकिन सर ये चीजें हैं. एंड देन सेकंड माइंडसेट है, सर पहाड़ तो तोड़ना है और सर हम बुलडोजर लगा देंगे और लोगों को लगा देंगे. तो सेकंड वर्ड इज यस एंड, नॉट यस बट. यस बट इज ऑलवेज कंप्लेनिंग माइंडसेट, वो प्रॉब्लम नहीं सॉल्व कर पाएगा. यस एंड इज व्हाट वी टीच टू स्टूडेंट्स. सो दीज ऑल आर स्ट्रक्चर्ड प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ यंग थिंकर विच वी टीच टू स्टूडेंट्स. और ये सारी चीजें पहले माइंडसेट ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन बहुत होता है, उसके बाद हम टेक्नोलॉजी बच्चों को पढ़ाते हैं. So what really happens after that is then they start finding out solution. So one student is in the welding team, one in the structure team, one student will work on the CAD designing, computer aided designing, one will do the simulation, some students on the wheel, some on the chassis. कोई बच्चा गियर सिस्टम पे काम करेगा, कोई बच्चा सोशल मीडिया मार्केटिंग पे काम करेगा, कोई आउटरीच पे काम करेगा, कोई प्रेजेंटेशन पे काम करेगा. सो इट्स 10 स्टूडेंट्स वर्किंग टुगेदर, एंड they're working as a company, as a business. बिकॉज अनलेस एंड अनटिल सब लोग एक साथ काम करेंगे, टीम कभी नहीं जीतने वाला है. सो दिस इज बेसिकली entrepreneurship training, hands-on entrepreneurship training, which school students basically get when they're a part of this kind of a team. And eventually once these students are problem solver, अपने problem के solution वो खुद निकाल लेते हैं. So obviously इसमें बहुत सारे challenges थे. कोविड पे वी आर वर्किंग इन अ विलेज, फिनेंस को मैनेज करना चैलेंज था. बच्चों के पास पासपोर्ट्स नहीं थे, डॉक्यूमेंट थे. तो गांव में आपको पता होगा 10 बच्चों के 10 डॉक्यूमेंट में अलग अलग नाम लिखे हुए हैं. सो वन ऑफ द इंटरेस्टिंगली वन ऑफ द स्टूडेंट नेम इज वासुदेव. एक डॉक्यूमेंट में वासुदेव लिखा है, एक में डी बी लिखा है, एक में डी वी लिखा हुआ है. बट जब आप पासपोर्ट के लिए जाते हैं तो चैलेंजेस वहां पे आना शुरू हो जाता है. सो इंटरेस्टिंगली लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स, मतलब पासपोर्ट कैसे बनेगा, 3 साल का लॉग है ना. और इंडियन टीम है, उसमें भी गांव से बच्चे जा रहे हैं, इंग्लिश नहीं आता है, कैसे पहुंचेंगे वहां पे, तो इंग्लिश भी सिखाओ इनको. सो लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स वर देयर. बट द fact remains the same कि since everyone is a problem solver, it's not 10 students for which we were bothering. It's 10 problem solver who are solving their own problem, solving a bigger problem, and trying to find out the solution. And 2023 में भी ऐसे ही 6 बच्चे गए थे. So once we entered into that place, we see big teams coming with बड़े बड़े कंटेनर्स जिसके अंदर दे हैव दिस लैब्स एंड ऑल, और हमारे बच्चे वहाँ एक डब्बा पकड़ के खड़े हैं बस. सो एंड दे फियर्ड कि यार इतना इतना सारा चीज़ हो चुका है. तो हमने बोला यार हमारे पास कुछ नहीं था, हम यहाँ पे आके पहुंचे हैं. और कंपटीशन कंपटीशन में इतनी इतनी सारी चीज़ें लाना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. सिर्फ एक उसमें लेट्स पार्टिसिपेट यार, उसमें कॉम्पीट करते हैं वहाँ पे, उनसे टक्कर लेते हैं और जीत के आते हैं. और जो बच्चे जीत के आए फाइनली. सो दैट्स हाउ दिस एंटायर थिंग एक्चुअली हैपेंड. एंड ऑब्वियसली जब आप वो कहते हैं ना कि आप जब आप सच्चे दिल से चाहो तो पूरी कायनात लग जाती है. दैट एग्जैक्टली हैपेंड विद अस. देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ इंसिडेंट्स दैट हैपेंड. यदि हर इंसिडेंट को बोलूंगा तो यू विल फील लाइक इट्स अ कोइंसिडेंट. लेकिन कोई भी एक कोइंसिडेंस को आप यदि बीच में से हटा देंगे, वी आर नॉट देयर. So it's all because of a lot of people supported. They dreamt the same dream that we have in our mind, and we could able to achieve it.
Great. So 2023 also some of your team has won some award.
Yeah, they went for the NASA Rover challenge.
Okay.
And they won a category award that time. And so this is basically NASA. But apart from this, there are a lot of other competitions as well, which we participate in.
Okay.
Our students participate in. For example, one of the students is an entrepreneur. So he has created a solution. He has his own business. So it's not only about a competition, but it's much more.
So this you mentioned about NASA. So what happens at a national level? I mean, what is being done at a national level to replicate such stories in India?
Sorry, if you're talking about NASA HERC, it's an international event.
Yeah, of course. What I meant is need not be exactly a replication of NASA, but is there some kind of exhibition or some kind of competition which happens in India, which is also trying to basically bring together the innovativeness, teamwork, and so on and so forth.
Yes, so in India we have a lot of competitions. One of the biggest challenge is how do we ensure participation of students even from the remotest location? Because the thing is to get into that competition, the robotics का competition है, so to get into that you need some basic knowledge.
Mm.
So what I have seen is only students from good schools could able to participate because of a lot of things, and they're not organized locally. So last year we took this plunge and हमने बोला कि यार क्यों नासा जैसा बड़ा इवेंट में ही हम सिर्फ 10 बच्चों को क्यों लेके जा रहे हैं.
Mm.
Why not we create localized competitions? So we have created something which is known as Tinker Fest, जो अभी
Okay.
December 23 में बालेश्वर में हुआ था. So these are basically festival which schools, volunteers, companies can organize locally. तो आप चाहें तो अपने स्कूल में अपना टिंकर फेस्ट को ऑर्गेनाइज कर सकते हो. सो इंस्टेड ऑफ गोइंग टू अ डिफरेंट प्लेटफॉर्म ऑल टुगेदर, हाउ कैन यू ब्रिंग प्लेटफॉर्म लोकली, और उसी में आप ऑर्गेनाइज कर सकते हो अपने खुद के स्टूडेंट रॉकेट लॉन्चेस, जिसमें बच्चे अपने रॉकेट्स लेके आ रहे हैं, अपने लॉन्च कर रहे हैं. वहीं पे उन बच्चों के एग्जीबिशंस हो सकते हैं. एंड दीज आर मच मोर देन जस्ट अ साइंस एग्जीबिशन. इट्स मोर ऑफ प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग. सो नॉर्मल साइंस एग्जीबिशंस और टिंकर फेस्ट का डिफरेंस यही है कि साइंस एग्जीबिशन इज ऑल अबाउट टेलिंग व्हाट ऑल concepts you learned in science. Tinker Fest is all about how do you find a solution using those concepts. सो उसको फिर हम लोगों ने वहां पे बनाया बिकॉज वंस आई वाज देयर सिटिंग एट HERC, नासा के HERC का जो इवेंट था इन देयर ऑडिटोरियम, सो दे वर टेलिंग कि नासा के इस इवेंट के वजह से पिछले 30 साल में इतने इंजीनियर्स जो हमारे यहाँ पे जनरेट हुए इस HERC इवेंट से निकले हैं. विच मीन्स this is one of the event where they were trying to hunt Americans for NASA के HERC में पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं और कल वो नासा को जाके ज्वाइन करते हैं. So he told, this is something we want to do and how can we do it on scale? और यदि नहीं हो रहा है इंडिया में तो करना पड़ेगा, और किसको करना है तो हम लोग करेंगे. Let's do it. So we have started doing that.
Okay, and eventually you see the Tinker Fest to proliferate across India and possibly get integrated also with the formal education. I mean, how do you see this?
So the thing is, we never wanted it to be a part of formal education and all that stuff. We don't want to get into. We want it to be a part of the community event. If you go to a village, if you see any kind of festival happening, तो वो कहीं किसी ने डॉक्यूमेंट करके नहीं डाला है. इट्स द पार्ट ऑफ द कल्चर. सो यू वांट टिंकर फेस्ट टू बी द पार्ट ऑफ द कल्चर ऑफ द स्कूल, जहाँ पे स्कूल हर साल इसको एक एक फेस्टिवल जैसा इसको बनाए एंड वेयर दे अप्रिशिएट स्टूडेंट्स rather देन जजिंग. हर साल हम एक पेरेंट्स मीटिंग करते हैं जहाँ पे हम बच्चों को जज करते हैं, अच्छा इसके इतने नंबर, इसके इतने नंबर, ये अच्छा ये बुरा. तो वी वांट इट टू बी पार्ट ऑफ अ सेलिब्रेशन, पार्ट ऑफ द स्कूल कल्चर वेयर दे सेलिब्रेट देयर स्टूडेंट्स. भाई साहब आपने, एंड दे सेलिब्रेट आइडियाज इंस्टेड ऑफ जस्ट स्टूडेंट, दे सेलिब्रेट आइडियाज. भाई साहब क्या तो आइडियाज हमारे बच्चे लोग लेके आए. एंड वंस वी स्टार्ट सेलिब्रेटिंग आइडियाज, गुड आइडियाज विल फ्लरिश. So that's the bigger goal for Tinkerfest.
Okay, so what is the, I mean, you mentioned about the Tinker Fest which happened recently, in fact, last year. So looking at the future, how do you see this proliferating across the India?
So if you see Tinkerfest, so Tinkerfest को भी शायद 15 दिन भी नहीं हुए हैं, but since it's in December 23rd, December 24, it's last year. So basically this festival happened in Soro, Baleswar, and a group of students, they actually made their own satellite and they launched it as well during that event. So 3,000 students from 9 different schools came together to celebrate that event, to celebrate student innovation, to celebrate their friends, to celebrate their teachers as well who helped them. So those kind of things started happening here in India, and eventually we want every school to have their own Tinkerfest, and where not only their students participate, but students from different other schools also participate. तो एजुकेशन तो है ही कोलैबोरेशन, इज अ वेरी नोबल कॉज. तो यहाँ पे कोई स्कूल दूसरे स्कूल के साथ कॉम्पीट नहीं करना चाहिए. वी शुड ऑलवेज कोलैबोरेट. यार मेरे स्कूल में टिंकर फेस्ट हो रहा है, व्हाई नॉट यू गाइज ऑल्सो कम एंड पार्टिसिपेट, लेट्स कोलैबोरेट एंड डू समथिंग. तो ये चीज सोचिए, यू जस्ट इमेजिन दिस हैपेंड इन सोरो इन बालेश्वर, जो कि आपका टियर 3 हो जाता है. वहां पे 9 स्कूल एक साथ आके एक सेलिब्रेशन कर रहे हैं. So it and you won't find this kind of things happening. And it's not a young tinker event anymore. We are just a small part of that big event.
Mhm.
So I feel like this is something which is now going to places. Eventually we'll be having in Puri maybe next month another Tinkerfest, and we have opened it, so kind of open sourced it. Anyone can have Tinkerfest in their own school. They can take our help in organizing, and it's completely open source. Can go directly to the website, apply for free license, uh, get the documentations from us, and can organize it. So all can be done.
Excellent, excellent. And basically, you're trying to kind of democratize the way STEM is understood, learned at the student level.
Exactly.
Um, so you mentioned about the challenges you faced earlier in terms of setting up the Young Tinker Foundation in the initial days. So take us through briefly about the story of how you were able to overcome some of those challenges, and what are the um, current challenges which you are trying to solve.
So the bigger challenges for us was initially I'm from an engineering background, so never knew how to run a startup, how to start a startup. So and is this a startup? What do we call it? Shall we call it an NGO? Shall we call it as a startup? What do we call it? So eventually we coined a term for ourselves, which is impact startup. So we called ourselves as an impact startup instead of an NGO. NGO, when people think you are an NGO, they feel like आप कंबल बांटने वाले हैं और ये सब होने. And so we told care we are like any other startup. We want to create a brand around it. We want to take it to students, create a bigger impact, and let's call ourselves as an impact startup. So that is how it started when I was there in college. So सबसे पहले we started the school, then the foundation, and school was a very tough proposal for us because 5 days I have to be there in school in a week. Sorry, 5 days I have to be there in my college. 2 days I have to travel back from Sambalpur to Cuttack for that school, and and make sure everything's run smoothly there. The biggest challenge at that time was sustainability of that school because we have around 250 odd kids there. We couldn't able to sustain that entire thing. So eventually we shifted to the foundation model, and that is where we have started helping other schools to set up what we are doing. And the challenges initially was how do you create that mindset in parents as well. So parents thinks कि बच्चा तो स्कूल जा रहा है, सब कुछ स्कूल में हो जाएगा, without actually knowing कि what's happening on the school. Second, गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में बच्चा जाता है for the incentives, not for learning. So they are getting egg curry, तो ठीक है स्कूल जाते हैं भाई, एग करी आज मिलेगा हम खा के आएंगे, rather than the bigger purpose कि मुझे वहाँ पे कुछ सीखने जाना है. So सबसे ज्यादा बड़ा चैलेंज था is creating that mindset. I feel like always in any initiative that I see, mindset is more important than anything else. Funds and everything will follow. So those will follow. Funds and all are challenges, but everything will follow once you have the right mindset. So we try to create that mindset. So I basically call it as breaking the ice. ICE for us is intent, content, and environment. ICE, intent, content, environment. सबसे पहला intent. How do you create the right intent? C is content. Do you have the relatable content in school? तो relatable content नहीं है. बच्चा trigonometry पढ़ रहा है, उसको पता नहीं trigonometry कहाँ पे यूज होने वाला है. So they feel like अच्छा trigonometry तो ऐसे ही पढ़ रहे हैं हम लोग. तो we created solution for it. सोल्यूशन ये है कि बच्चों को बोलते हैं एक काम करो, आपके लैब में जितना भी सब पीछे देखेंगे, टेप है, स्केल है, ये सब लेके जाओ, और सामने जो पेड़ दिख रहा है लंबा सा पेड़, उसका हाइट नाप के लाओ. तो लेके चले जाएंगे बाहर, स्ट्रगल करेंगे 15 मिनट और आके बोलेंगे सर नहीं हो रहा है. देन वी टेल, जाओ उसका जो शैडो नीचे है उसको नाप के ले आओ कितना हो रहा है. और प्रोटेक्टर में एक प्लम बॉब लगा के जहाँ पे शैडो खत्म हो रहा है वहां से ऊपर टॉप को देखो कितना एंगल बन रहा है. सो यू हैव एंगल, यू हैव द बेस, नाउ फाइंड आउट द हाइट. कैसे निकालोगे? ट्रिग्नोमेट्री. सो सो बेसिकली पी बाई बी करके वो निकालेगा उसको, सॉल्यूशन को निकालेगा. तो उसको समझ में जाएगा कि दिस इज व्हाई वी आर लर्निंग ट्रिग्नोमेट्री. सो फर्स्ट टेल व्हाई बिफोर दी व्हाट, कि क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं, और फिर बताओ कि क्या पढ़ रहे हैं. तो पहले प्रॉब्लम दिया, फिर उसने बच्चे ने को जब सोल्यूशन मिला तो तब समझ में, अच्छा ट्रिग्नोमेट्री इसलिए मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ यहाँ पे, नॉट बिकॉज कि मेरे को ट्रिग्नोमेट्री पढ़ना है एग्जाम के लिए. उसको भी लग रहा है ट्रिग्नोमेट्री में पढ़ रहा हूँ एग्जाम के लिए, सारे सब्जेक्ट में पढ़ रहा हूँ एग्जाम के लिए. इसका इसका वास्तविकता से कोई रिलेशन नहीं है, ऐसा लगता है उस बच्चे को. बट आर थिंग इज, अच्छा ठीक है, कंटेंट को ठीक किया जाए. तो पहला इंटेंट हो गया. इंटेंट पहले बना लिया कि मैं यहाँ पे सीखने के लिए कुछ आ रहा हूँ, कुछ नया सीखूंगा. सेकंड इज कंटेंट, मैंने रिलेटेबल कंटेंट दिया. थर्ड इज एनवायरमेंट. एनवायरमेंट इज बेसिकली उसको सपोर्ट कैसे करेगा, द क्लासरूम दैट वी आर डिजाइनिंग. इफ यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स थिंकिंग, तो डू वी हैव द क्लासरूम जहाँ पे आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स थिंकिंग कर सकता है. इफ यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट रियल लाइफ प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग या फिर कुछ बनाने के लिए, डू वी हैव द क्लासरूम जहाँ पे वो बना सकता है. So how do we create that environment? So breaking the ice is basically this intent, content, and environment. So how do we solve this? So we try to solve any problem in a school using ice, intent, content, and environment. Intent ठीक कर लो. Intent for everyone, the school principal, teacher, बच्चा और पेरेंट्स. कंटेंट जो बुक्स पढ़ा रहे हैं, जो किट दे रहे हैं, उसको रिलेटेबल बना दो. एंड एनवायरमेंट. ये तीन चीजें हैं.
Okay, so you mentioned about creating the right kind of environment. I think one of the key challenge which probably you might have faced in terms of creating this, if I can you're basically creating the pedagogy of teaching, a new pedagogy of teaching. And one of the key influencer or important factor in this is the teacher itself, teacher himself or herself. So, how do you find, I mean, what challenges did you find in solving this problem of getting the right kind of people who know the pedagogy or who are trained in your pedagogy to really teach to students?
So I feel like there is nothing like a right or a wrong teacher. We always have to create the right talent.
Correct.
So that is what we have figured out. So once you see teachers, कोई STEM teacher नहीं है, and they will teach the same way how they have been taught. तो 10-15 साल पहले उसने जैसा सीखा होगा वो भी वैसे ही सिखाने वाला है आपको. और आपने बीएड की डिग्री, डीएड की डिग्री, जो भी डिग्री दे रखी है, जिस प्रकार से आपने उसको पढ़ाया होगा वो वैसे ही आज यहाँ पे पढ़ाने वाला है. विच कॉम्प्यूट्स टू, यदि आप 21st century स्किल्स पढ़ाने वाले हैं तो उसको पढ़ाने वाले एक्चुअली आपके पास कोई टीचर नहीं है. बिकॉज दे हैवंट बीन टॉट द वे नाउ यू वांट देम टू टीच. सो बेसिकली एजुकेशन, हम जब भी कहते हैं, हम कहते हैं एजुकेशन इज फ्यूचरिस्टिक, शुड बी फ्यूचरिस्टिक. द रीजन इज, आज जो क्लास 1 में जो बच्चा है, आर वी टीचिंग देम फॉर the year 2036? Are we teaching them for the year 2040? The answer is no. सो टीचर को भी ट्रेनिंग, टीचर की ट्रेनिंग भी वैसी होनी चाहिए. आर वी ट्रेनिंग द ट्रेनर सो दैट दे कैन ट्रेन अ स्टूडेंट फॉर द ईयर 2040? सो ये है. व्हाट वी हैव सीन इज, इस प्रॉब्लम को हमने कैसे सॉल्व किया. वी थॉट कि यार लोग कहीं से बने बनाए मिलने नहीं वाले. वी हैव टू क्रिएट देम, वी हैव टू क्रिएट दोज रिसोर्सेस. सो वी हैव आवर ओन ट्रेनिंग मॉड्यूल्स. 70% of the training module is mindset change, 30% on what they have to teach.
Wow.
So this is totally reverse of what any other training institute is doing. They teach what they have to teach. We teach on how to teach. क्या माइंडसेट होना चाहिए आपका. एंड देन 30% भाई ये नॉलेज है, ये नॉलेज है, ये आप यहाँ पे कर लो. नाउ आवर स्टूडेंट्स डोंट नीड फैक्ट्स, डोंट वांट दोर नॉलेज, दैट इज देयर एवरीवेयर, उसको हर जगह से मिल जाएगा. द ओनली थिंग दैट वी हैव टू क्रिएट इज माइंडसेट. यदि बच्चे का माइंडसेट क्रिएट करना है तो पहले टीचर का माइंडसेट करो. क्या वो उस तरीके से सोचता है जिस तरीके से हम चाहते हैं हमारे बच्चे सोचें? तो पहले उसको ऐसा सोचने का तरीका है। Are those teachers communicating the way how we want our students to communicate? If the answer is no, then कभी वो बच्चे को ऐसा करा ही नहीं पाएगा. So we find out those resources and then we deploy it. यदि आप देखोगे हम लोग जब रूरल एरियाज में काम करते हैं, we have this vehicle which is known as tow, tinker on wheels, which goes from one place to other. So we also have people from arts background teaching technology to students.
Fantastic.
द रीजन इज हमने देखा कि जो बीटेक कर रहा है उसके पास भी वो नॉलेज नहीं है, क्योंकि उसने स्कूल में वो पढ़ाई नहीं है. They have just mugged up technology. They haven't felt technology. We want our students in schools to feel technology. तो वो कैसे करेगा? तो we also have students those who are 12th pass only.
Wow.
From villages, those are just 12th pass. Because of some reason, they couldn't able to pursue education. Maybe because of marriage, maybe because of lack of money and all. But they have the intent कि सर हमको टीचर बनना है. सर आप जो करवाओगे हम कर लेंगे. वे आज हमारे ज्वाइन करो हमारे ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूट को, हम आपको पढ़ाएंगे, आपको ट्रेन करेंगे. वी ट्रेन देम एंड देन वंस वी स्टार्ट डिप्लॉइंग देम वी गेट द डिजायर रिजल्ट दैट वी एक्चुअली वांट. सो द थिंग इज टीचर इज अ माइंडसेट एंड टीचर एज जस्ट फैसिलिटेटर्स. और वो राइट माइंडसेट नहीं है देन यू कांट डिलीवर. सो वी सॉल्व्ड आवर प्रॉब्लम बाय क्रिएटिंग एन अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर अदर्स. जो पहले गांव में खुद बैठा हुआ था, जो महिला बैठी हुई थी, वो अब जाके स्कूल में पढ़ाना शुरू कर रही है. If there is someone, a lady in a city also wants to do something, we create them as entrepreneurs. Why not you become entrepreneur and start teaching students out there with our help? So those kind of narration. So changing the narration is something that we work extensively, and this is the biggest narration that we have changed.
So, Anil, just thinking loud, if you have been able to create teachers out of any person who has the intent, if this pedagogy or this thinking can be actually used in training the existing teachers across India, I think there are lakhs of schools in India and probably crores of teachers at the school level itself. The impact which you can create is unthinkable, actually. I don't know how you're thinking about it.
Yes, so we are thinking about it. The challenge here remains the government system.
Mhm.
If we could able to find out a solution to tackle it, then I feel like we are done. And it's not only for a STEM teacher or a science teacher, it's for every teacher.
Correct.
Every teacher should have this problem solving mindset. वो
Absolutely.
अपने भी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर लेंगे और कल बच्चों को भी सिखा देंगे प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग. So I feel like this is something that we are also extensively thinking on. How do we do a mass teachers training? How do you go about it? If that is done, then I feel like the entire school ecosystem will change. And it's not only on just on the classroom के बाहर भी आपको चेंज दिखेगा. पूरे स्कूल को वो लोग चेंज कर पाएंगे. द पीपल हु कम कंप्लेनिंग कि हमारे पास कम रिसोर्सेस है, हमारे स्कूल में कुछ भी नहीं है, हमारे पास ये नहीं है, हमें वो दे दो. दे कैन चेंज द वे दे आर टीचिंग. दे कैन चेंज द एंटायर स्कूल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. सब कुछ वो लोग चेंज कर सकते हैं. सो आई फील लाइक this is the training which should be given to everyone there in India. This problem solving mindset.
Great. You're making so much of impact on the society, and obviously you cannot do it alone. You need a societal input support system. Primarily, I see two segments of support system which can come. Of course, apart from the government, which probably we cannot have any direct control, but other stakeholders are like the schools. There are so many private education institutions across India. And the second segment is the organizations who can actually play important role. A lot of organizations today are actually investing into education, and some of them are doing extremely good in terms of creating those impacts. So through this conversation, what would be your message first to the school community, which are probably not directly controlled by the government, so they have the freedom of probably engaging with you and collaborating with you, and to secondly to the organizations who are futuristic, who look at good ideas to promote. So what are those messages to them? So hopefully this conversation may reach out to those people, and probably help you in the journey.
What we have really done is we have open sourced everything that we do, right
Okay.
from if you want to have a tinker space at your own school, that is also listed on our website. You can directly go there, get the entire thing done at your school. If you want to organize Tinkerfest, that is also open source. So everything is there in our website where they can actually go and do it. The only thing is just a push. So what actually create what is the biggest difference between a normal school principal and a extraordinary school principal is the extra effort. So if you could able to create that extra effort, I feel like a lot will change. A lot will change in your school. When we create a product, they tinker on wheels. So it is basically an auto. So the first one to try an auto and to drive the auto was me myself because we are always worried about the bigger goal, not the smaller ones. If it takes just a small pain to drive this auto to make this thing and उससे the कल बड़ा impact हो सकता है, why not we do it? So that is the kind of mindset I feel like the school admin should have, and I would request them to please connect with us and let's create this impact together.
Fantastic. And what would be your message to organizations who are actually quite benevolent in many ways, and some of them are actually doing well in terms of creating high quality education, especially in the higher education. I think a lot of them are involved. So what would be your message to them as well?
My message would be कि uh, let's build students who can actually find solutions to the problems, and let's not help them mug up solutions of problems. So every time they have to come back to you to find the solution. So let's create those kind of a pedagogy, and it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal to create that. It's easy, it's convenient, and it's doable. So we basically call it as DMW formula for student. If you have 10 ideas, how to select one idea. So we call it's not BMW, it's DMW. DMW is doable, moneyable, and wantable. So problem solving mindset, problem solving content यदि आपको बनाना है, it's doable, it's moneyable. Moneyable नहीं होगा तो finances आप manage नहीं कर पाएंगे. So it's moneyable and W is wantable. People actually want it. So it's DMW. Let's do it. And we are always there to collaborate and help build with you guys.
Fantastic. And before we part away for this conversation, what has been the impact so far with your foundation? If you can tell us briefly about it.
2015, we started with 3 students. Now we have impacted close to 2.7 lakh students here in India.
Okay. And the school?
Yeah, the school is still there, but it's not a conventional school anymore. It's an after school now. And we're trying to set up a school of the future very soon. We'll disclose the locations, scale, everything shortly.
Okay. And Anil, you mentioned about you're creating a lot of impact on the STEM education, especially. But you also mentioned that the some of the teachers are not actually from the engineering or science background. They are creating those impacts. So for students who are not in the STEM education, they are actually either in the commerce or in the liberal science, liberal arts backgrounds. For those, is there something which you are thinking already?
So the thing is, problem solving is for everyone. सबको अपने जिंदगी में प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करना है. Either आप finance में हो, accounts में हो, art में हो, आप किसी ना किसी प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व कर रहे हैं. So everyone should be a problem solver. So this is not what we have designed only for science and technology. We have designed it for everyone. And technology का help तो सबको ही लेते हैं. So it's for everyone. It's not only for science technology. It's for everyone. And then if you go through this entire pedagogy, you will feel like अच्छा ये तो common sense है. So what we're teaching to students is basically common sense
Okay,
rather than a subject. Yeah.
right. You earlier mentioned that mindset is 70% and 30% is the content. As AI becomes even more powerful in the future, so what is the role of conventional education system? Are we going to see a time when the physical schools probably may not be required at all?
Physical schools, I feel like physical schools would be there because at the end of the day, not everything would be digital. You won't be eating digitally, and you won't be traveling completely digital. So a few of the things would be physical. So I feel like schools would be physical. The only job role change of a teacher would be a more of a facilitator rather than just a person with all the knowledge. So it's more of a facilitator. Earlier, we used to have people, those who knew everything, and they used to be the Google. But now we have Google, we have ChatGPT and all that, where you can get the facts out. But the only things that you can't find in Google is the student himself. He can't find about himself. So teacher job is to make sure how the student discovers themselves. And the first thing that we do with student is discovering myself program, where the student discovers about themselves. मुझे क्या पता है, मेरे को क्या आता है, मेरे को क्या करना है, मेरे को क्या सीखना है, and all that stuff. So I feel like AI would be a game changer, but yes, physical school would be there, and they will always require a teacher, uh, more of a facilitator, as a role model.
Fantastic, Anil. Thank you. I think your thought process, your innovations are really game changer for India and for across the world, not just for India. Thank you for all the good work you're doing, and it's a great honor to host you. And especially coming from the same state, I feel really proud that some of our people from Odisha are doing extremely well at a global level. Thank you for your contribution to the world.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mishra. Nice talking to you, and looking forward for synergies with you to scale the impact.
Thank you so much. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. We sincerely wish you could take something from our conversation today and be able to apply it to your life in a positive way. We value your feedback. This can help us improve our future episodes. So share your thoughts to serve you better. If you want us to focus on a topic which you think is of importance, let us know. We will share our expertise in future episodes. So, see you soon with a new topic and help you in your career journey.